Good day. Today, Friday, September 23, 2022, China's systemically essential banks put forth more suitable plans for coping with threats and more. China's systemically necessary banks adopted a greater prudent mindset towards danger administration and bolstered their necessities for data disclosure and company governance, stated the nation's central financial institution on Thursday. As of the quit of June, the common non-performing mortgage ratio of the 19 systemically necessary banks was once 1.33%, a decrease than the parent at some point of the equal-length closing year. The ratio of allowances for impairment losses on loans to NPLs used to be 240%, up 15.6 share factors year-on-year, stated the People's Bank of China, the central bank. Compared with their counterparts, systemically essential banks took greater proactive steps in phases of capital management. As of the quit of June, their Common Core Tier 1 capital adequacy ratio used to be 10.7%, up 0.14 proportion factors from the equal-length closing year. The determination used to be 0.6 proportion factors greater than the common of the Chinese banking sector. All of these banks have submitted their recommendations for restoration and decision plans to put together viable monetary difficulties and repair their viability in a well-timed manner, all through durations of economic distress, in addition to making plans for tackling fundamental risks. Earlier this month, the PBOC and the China Banking and Insurance Regulatory Commission collectively unveiled a listing of 19 banks that are viewed as systemically important. The listing consists of 6 state-owned industrial banks, 9 countrywide joint stock business banks, and 4 metropolis business banks. The U.S. dollar hegemony over world change was once mounted for the duration of the Bretton Woods Convention of 1944, when 44 nations agreed to set up a worldwide economic gadget, whereby their currencies would be pegged to the U.S. dollar, and the greenback used to be pegged at $35 to 1 ounce of gold, and acceptance primarily based on the U.S. emerging as the sole essential creditor state for the duration of and in the aftermath of the World War II. There has been a developing disenchantment with the U.S. dollar as the global forex of preference for alternate, due to the latest main adjustments in geopolitical concerns that have visibly reinforced throughout the previous number of months as the U.S. members of the family with Russia and Raider. These days China has visibly deteriorated. In February this year, after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the U.S., with its European allies, sanctioned the Russian Central Financial Institution and iced up its reserves of $630 billion, thereby taking away its capacity to change greenbacks for rubles, with the goal of stabilizing rubles. The Russian authorities retaliated by way of insisting that European international locations pay for their gasoline purchases from Russia in rubles. And no doubt a painful lesson discovered with the aid of Russia as properly as different sanctioned countries, which include Iran, is the want to protect the U.S. dollar's hegemony and diversify their reserves into different currencies. China too has developed serious variations with the U.S. over Taiwan in current months. Talk of alternate foreign money is now not new. In 2009, the governor of the Central Bank of China proposed a commodity-backed currency, thinking back by using the 5 BRICS countries. It is, however, giant that even the U.S. allies rather than the European Union set up the euro to shield the EU financial system from overseas change shocks, and after the dollar has emerged with the second greatest share of international forex reserves, at almost 21%. And in March this year, the Eurasian Economic Union, Russia, Armenia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Belarus agreed to strengthen a new global currency. India has begun talks with Saudi Arabia to begin a rupee-real alternate, and the Central Financial Institution of India has requested exporters to Bangladesh to keep away from settling offers in main currencies and to rather use the Indian rupee or the Bangladeshi taka. Foreign alternate reserves held in greenbacks have allowed nations like Pakistan to no longer solely meet overseas liabilities, debt as properly as a charge for imports, but additionally to prop up the rupee. In the match of a fall in the rupee fee as witnessed in the latest months, the regular remedial measure is for the central financial institution to inject bucks into the market to elevate the cost of the neighborhood currency. Disturbingly, however, this used to be the desired coverage throughout the tenure of Ishaq Dar as the country's finance minister, accounting for big borrowing of bucks both at once from overseas industrial banks, at excessive costs of return, and/or via debt fairness, Eurobond sukuk issuances. The present-day nation of the reserves at solely $8.7 billion doesn't warrant such coverage by and large, due to inadequacy of foreign exchange reserves. And one may also expect it as the country's indebtedness in greenbacks that money owed to the International Monetary Fund in its 7th-8th opinions to stipulate that rollover of around 7 billion greenbacks and an extra borrowing of $4 billion from pleasant countries, China, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar, is an impact of prior situation for the subsequent tranche release. However, whilst Pakistan is currently struggling to make stronger its overseas change reserves, the primary cause for U.S. grappling with the stability of fee issues, prompting the acceptance of politically difficult IMF stipulations that have severely eroded the buying electricity of the familiar public, but possibly it is time to commence to proactively negotiate for alternate forex of alternate with pleasant international locations as a begin to decreasing dependence on the dollar for change and propping up the nearby currency. Thanks for watching and subscribing to the channel.